All right, good afternoon, folks. Sorry, better late than never. We had some major technical issues with the Intimidator's router, but after traveling to four different facilities and being up since yesterday morning at 5:30 a.m. Central Time, I am blessed to be with no other than Jeff and Johnny. How are you, gentlemen?
Good.
On the edge of my seat.
All right, so this is going to be a show that nobody is going to forget anytime soon. Um, Something significant has happened. So, Jeff, before we get going here, how many different things have you heard that could have possibly happened out here at El Paso? Six, 10, dozen?
I heard that the 10th mountain has been moved to Texas to the Mexican border. I just heard it from one source. That's all I've got.
What about the drone,
Something's
the drones and the closing of the airport in El Paso?
that's been reported that that they've closed all the airspace. I guess they shot down a child's balloon. Is another story I heard. And of course they won't let medical evacuation helicopters function even. So they're shutting down emergency services, an important emergency service in this area. I've seen a map of it's quite a large area. It's not just El Paso. It's an arc around El Paso that's the airspace is closed. This is very unusual, turning flights back, not allowing any even medical helicopters to rescue people. This is very, very strange.
All right, well, they have now reopened the airspace.
Do we know what it
Except,
was about?
yeah. And what I'm about to tell you is absolutely positively unbelievable. So, a company got a contract with the U.S. Army to produce a 20 kilowatt laser. Now, what you have to think about is a little pin laser like you have on your keychain for a laser pointer is a half a watt. Okay. That's
Mm-hmm.
illegal to point at an airplane. Okay. So you have 20,000 watts. Okay. And with 20,000 watts, that would be the equivalent of 40,000 laser pointers.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Now, this 20 kilowatt laser system has been designed for the U.S. Army and was tested and then handed over to the Customs and Border Patrol. Now, when the system was tested and designed and created, it was supposed to be able to see a drone with its radar and identify whether it's a balloon or a drone or a helicopter. In addition to having the radar, it's supposed to have a thermal imager on it that can look at the target and see whether it is a balloon, a drone, or a helicopter. It's supposed to be able to see all of the thermal contrast differences, say, yes, this is a drone and not a balloon or a helicopter. And then a person in the loop looks at the radar information and looks at the thermal imaging image and decides whether or not it is a balloon, a drone, or a helicopter. And if it is a drone, it is to fire on the drone. Now, this is all fine and dandy if you want to do this kind of a test on a military base, because you can determine what the backstop is going to be. You can control all the parameters. Public airspace, that's a little different. So the other night, the radar for this system picked up what it said was a drone. The thermal imager then looked at the image and said, it's a drone. And the operator of the system then looked at the imagery and the radar and said, it's a drone, and squeezed off the round and shot down a child's balloon. That's not the problem. The problem is the laser was located on Fort Bliss, Texas, more than 2.5 miles north of the border where the balloons were located. There's 2 big problems, 3, probably 10 big problems to this when it all comes down to it. The first is it fired that 20 kilowatt laser beam that's as powerful as 40,000 keychain lasers, and it fired that laser beam through the airspace of 2 active airports without notifying the airports. It could have struck commercial, civil, or military aircraft with a laser beam. That's the first big problem. The bigger problem is it's completely illegal. You wouldn't believe the number of laws firing 40,000 lasers through civilian airspace near a airport, endangering the lives. It goes on and on and on with all the laws that were broken when this thing was fired. Then, in addition to that, they tried to cover it up and say that they had shot down a drone. Now, there's a couple really, really big problems in here also. First off, a good radar can detect the rotation of the rotor blades on a drone. Their radar can't even detect the difference between a child's balloon, a drone, or a helicopter. The thermal imagery on the weapon system is also supposed to be able to detect the heat signature, the exhaust plume, the main rotor, the fuselage, the tail rotor, the plume, all of that. Should have been easily seen with the thermal imager. Nope, they were looking at a child's balloon. Then the individual who's supposed to fire the laser beam should have been able to see that it was a balloon and not a drone or a helicopter because it contained no thermal signature whatsoever because it was a child's balloon and they fired it anyway, even though it is only supposed to be used against drones and not balloons. Now, so this endangered everybody involved. The worst part about all of this is it's still turned on. They can do the same thing tonight. And nobody is stopping them.
But yet they've reopened the airspace.
Right.
Which means any airline or any medical flight, any kind of commercial traffic at all or military traffic at all is in danger of being shot down.
Yes. There you go.
Could be misidentified as a child's balloon and shot down.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah. No, that's a drone. We got to shoot it down. It's a medevac helicopter. I see. Yeah.
So the reports of Shahed drones across the border, what about this?
Well, the interesting thing about that is they still say that those drones are there. They just can't show you one. So it's kind of, you know, have you ever heard of Bigfoot?
Yeah.
A time or two, yeah.
So they say they're there, but nobody's shown us one. And see, the problem is everybody put out a different story. The administration said we shot it down with a plane early on, and they said, well, nobody's going to believe that because you can track the planes and all that. So they shut up and wouldn't say anything at all after that. And they're still not saying anything at all. So it has gotten to be very interesting here. So what say you, fine gentlemen, about this fine mess that Mr. Hegseth, and I believe it's well, I'm not going to say the company's name, but and what their operator has gotten us into. And oh, by the way, it's being operated by CBP.
So CBP's been tasked to deal with these problems on the border. They
Yep.
can't just, for clarification here, they can't differentiate what the target is, but yet they're keeping it online.
Yep.
So my question is this: what's their excuse going to be when, I don't know, a medical flight gets shot down, or
I'm
a
not
commercial
sure.
airliner taken off? What's their excuse going to be then?
I don't know if they'll admit it. They haven't done it this time.
So we're looking at another, like a TWA Flight 800 kind of thing?
Possible. I mean, you go firing a laser beam through the front end of a 747 or 787 or where the fuel tanks are. Yeah, you could have a bad day there.
That's going to be like, that's worse than a child's balloon, because it's going to be giving off all kinds of heat.
He doesn't know the difference.
Well, he does. Yeah, that's the thing. Is that's
I
the
guess.
scary thing.
But isn't it more likely to target or to target something that's giving off a thermal signature?
You would think so, except for it shot the child's balloon,
Yeah,
which blows that thought out of the water.
I suppose
I mean,
so.
Are they properly training the people who are operating these systems?
There's one person.
What?
There's one person. There's one person in the loop. They've automated the rest of it.
No. You have to have human supervision of this. You can't.
Yeah,
you
one
can't
person.
automate it.
There's one person in the loop. There's one person in the loop.
One person. That is. You have to have multiple people watching that, because you have to have somebody who's really savvy watching it, who understands the system better than these people did. They're lucky it was a child's balloon.
Yeah, but I can't believe that they fired it through 2 operational airports.
Yeah, well, that's pretty stupid. Why isn't it automatically prohibited from firing in that direction? Why doesn't it have a built-in protocol that it won't allow it to fire over 2 airports? You'd think there'd be a protocol where if you tried to
It's
fire
on a
the
vehicle,
laser,
so you can drive it around anywhere.
see,
was
you'd
gonna
think
say,
it would have,
yeah.
but it has directional capabilities. So you'd think that it would be able to know where the airport is, and then it would automatically not allow itself to be armed and fire.
This was built by the Army to give to the Customs and Border Patrol. I think you're asking for too much.
Yeah, see, there's the problem, is the Army needs to operate this equipment, not the Border Patrol.
I would agree
This
with
is
that.
too powerful a weapon for the Border Patrol. This is a military weapon. This should not be a Border Patrol weapon. You're going to give the Border Patrol a howitzer to use indiscriminately on border areas? Call in howitzer strikes on, I mean, it's ridiculous.
Well, with the cartels, I mean, it's entirely possible.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, bring the Army in then. If you've got to need a
Sure.
howitzer strike, if you need a laser strike, call in the military. But don't give a Border Patrol agent that kind of discretion. We now know they don't. These guys aren't trained for a different kind of job. This is reason different discrete organizations do different discrete things.
I think the best course of action after the incident with the balloon, the best course of action would have been to take that system offline immediately.
You would think.
Yeah, that's just common sense to me. I'm sorry.
Nope.
We have a serious problem, and we're going to be taking this down, and that's it.
Because the next time it's not going to be a child's balloon. It's going to be, like you say,
That's
a medevac helicopter, a small plane owned by some local rancher or something in the area who's following his cattle. Man, they're lucky they didn't kill somebody.
Yeah, well, what I'm looking at is they're firing at the medevac helicopter and a commercial airliner flies through the beam.
Yeah, of course. Anything flies through that beam is going to be damaged, seriously damaged. And like you say, if a fuel tank is exposed to that, you have the potential of an explosion.
Catastrophic.
Laser beams of that power, I I knew a guy that witnessed a test of that on vehicles back in the 1970s, and he said it was the craziest thing he ever witnessed.
It
What
is
those things
crazy.
can do. Yeah, the damage that they can do to solid objects. You can't imagine it.
All right, gentlemen, what else we got? You want to talk about this, or you got anything else for us?
Well, that's. I mean, well, there's really not much of another place we can go with that, is there? I mean, we've got 15 different stories. I told you I heard so many different stories yesterday. I even heard the airspace being closed had to do something with this. Who's this person that's been kidnapped? This person's mother or something? Have you guys
Oh,
heard this?
this is I've heard this. It's supposedly the mother of Virginia Guthrie, who is a deceased witness in the Epstein stuff.
Okay, so that's the person that's her mother's been kidnapped and they're being held for $6 million ransom in Bitcoin.
I don't know about that. I only heard somebody say that her mother was kidnapped. I don't know if it's true. Is it true? Do we see it?
Well,
Are there
yeah,
reports
this
on
is
that?
a real kidnapping case. I just didn't know who the woman was.
Yeah.
What's her name?
I think is it Guthrie?
Something like that, yeah.
Guthrie.
Yeah.
Guthrie
Susan
kidnapping.
Guthrie or something like that's the name
Yeah,
I'm
I
hearing.
was at so much authorities search for clues in Nancy Guthrie disappearance.
There you go.
So I heard that this airspace, I kid you not, I heard this airspace had to do with that yesterday in all of this.
Is this people getting them confused? See, there's so much
I think
hysteria
they're
now.
confused. Yeah, I think they're confused on
This
who this
is
is because
not
it was Guthrie, not Guthrie.
right. This is not Virginia
So I don't know who this is.
Guthrie. Yeah, this is somebody else. Somebody else. See, that's why I didn't say anything, because I thought, we got to remember there's a level of hysteria going on out here. Yeah, see, they're confusing Virginia Guthrie with Nancy Guthrie, and they're claiming that her mother was see, this is part of the hysteria. Whenever you have something really, a big news story, which is really scary, which involves child trafficking or Satanism or cannibalism, you're going to get this hysteria where people then start doing bad analysis. They start hallucinating. They start seeing connections that aren't there. And the next thing you know, you got full blown witch hunt going on and people making all kinds of claims that aren't true. And that's what we're seeing here. There is an element of hysteria. And what you're going to see on the other side is you're going to say, this is a witch hunt, right? Because the term witch hunt comes from old Salem days. That's an American tradition. And but of course, what people don't know about Salem is there really was a weird thing that happened in Boston with an old washerwoman putting a hex on two girls, and the girls were vomiting up nails and pins. I mean, this is rational historians don't deny this. They got tons of witnesses. They didn't want to execute the woman. Cotton Mather went to the woman, and he came back into town and he said, "There's no witches. What are you talking about?" He interviews the woman and she admits she put a hex on him. Why did you take it off? If we write back to England and they say we have to hang you, because we were a colony of England then, and they didn't have any witch laws, they'd never had a problem. And she refused to take the hex off. And the phenomenon reported, was sensational, and it created the hysteria that led to the Salem witch trials, which was, I think historians agree, was hysteria. So you got something real that's weird, that's anomalous that people can't explain, that happens, surrounded, and then it multiplies and becomes craziness, right?
Yeah.
So you got these. Yeah. That's the thing about the child trafficking stories. You can suddenly have, we had the McMartin preschool in LA where people were claiming that it was a big child Satanist, ring at this preschool, and the children were prompted by some kind of psychologist into saying there were tunnels underneath the place and they were sacrificing animals, and not one shred of evidence was found. They put these poor people in jail. It was hysteria. So there is real hysteria that can arise in these cases.
Pizzagate was a hysterical thing.
Pizzagate became hysterical. Yes. Whatever the Podestas have some pretty creepy pictures.
They do. And they talk about a lot of pizza. You know,
They talk a lot about, and it's really weird with that. You have these weird pictures of people dining on people. John Podesta gave his brother. It's like a corpse lying there, and there's people with knives and forks eating.
this is that. This we were talking about this. This is that spirit cooking thing that this. What's her name?
Yes.
Oh,
Um,
I can't. What's her name?
yeah, she's Yugoslavian,
Oh,
she's Serbian,
yes, yes,
Montenegrin
yes.
parents. Yes,
We
she's
were just talking
79
about.
years old. Yeah.
She's 79 years old. What is her name? Um,
Oh, it's escaping me right now.
we were just talking
Abramovich.
about it.
Abramovich.
Yeah,
Abramovich.
Abramovich. That's
Yeah.
yeah.
Marina
Marina
Abramovich.
Abramovich.
Abramovich,
That's right.
right?
Yeah.
So there's a
She's
lot of
also a
hysteria.
spiritual advisor to Bill Gates, by the way.
Right. Well, she does these
Yeah.
awful things where she makes,
She does
art
these
with,
art things. Yeah.
that emulates
Yeah.
blood and semen and stuff.
Yeah.
Really weird, creepy stuff. And of course, the Podestas were into that with her, the spirit cooking stuff. So, I mean, look, but then you get hysterical. And what happens is people believe in this stuff at first when there's some evidence of something odd. And then people get so out of control, it's easy to discredit because the hysteria is easily discredited, right? And I think it was Colin Wilson who wrote The Insider, the famous British investigator, and he was actually an expert in crime. He was a criminologist, wrote some fabulous books, and he said, look, very, very infamously in England, he said, look, there was a lot of hysteria in the witch trials, he said, but some of it, the people were guilty of doing things. And he wrote extensively on this, that people believed in that stuff and they were putting the whammy on each other, and that was against the law, right? And so
I
they were
don't think.
enforcing the law in some of those cases.
Yeah, I don't think these people are as clean as the driven snow, by any means.
Right. See, there it is. Is you have
Yeah.
a little molehill of evidence, and it becomes a mountain of hysteria. And this is what is going to this is what's going to cause the investigation more than anything to be stuffed back in the box. And of course, you have this dilemma when women accuse men. How often are the accusations true? Right? There are questions. You've got the feminists. Everything a woman says is true. Women have to be automatically believed. Then you've got judges and investigators and police who say, wait a minute, some of these witnesses are not necessarily reliable, right? So you've got that. So you have to, but the thing is that, people say where there's smoke, there's fire. Well, sometimes there's just smoke. So how do you know? How do you get to the truth? What's the difference between the government now wanting to prosecute because it's afraid the female witnesses aren't credible under cross-examination? And maybe not because they aren't credible, but because lawyers can make you look. Lawyer could take you and me, Johnny and Lee, and he could make us look totally like fools on the witness stand.
Yes, they can.
They're
I've had them.
experts at that. Yeah.
I've had them try over and over in court cases that
Yeah.
I've been involved with. They've tried to trip me up on the stand.
I've been
over
in
and over.
court cases too. I've seen the same thing. I've faced that myself. I know exactly how mean they are, trial lawyers, and how it can be. And it's a serious thing. So you want the most credible witnesses you can that can't be destroyed, because the defense will destroy you. That much being said, Jeffrey Epstein was guilty of a lot of stuff. The testimony is huge. It's overwhelming. The people, the evidence, those files, and there's some creepy things in those emails.
There's a lot of creepy things in those emails, and I want the black bars removed. I want them off. We need to know who the perpetrators are. They've got to come off.
If you want to stop hysteria, you have to have full disclosure, so people don't project and invent. Because I think what's happening is a lot of people are now inventing, projecting. You got all these hysterical conspiracy theorists already that want to, say it's the Jews, it's the Masons, it's the Satanists. I mean, what is it really? Wouldn't it be wonderful to know?
I'll tell you what it is. It's a communist KGB honey trap, is what it is.
It does look that way. When you look at Robert Maxwell and Ghislaine Maxwell and all the front companies he created, and the involvement in the money, and where did the money come from, and the fact that they it looks like they honey trapped an Israeli prime minister and former head of intelligence. You know, would they be trapping their own if it was an Israeli thing? I don't think so. And the CIA would be entrapping American, senators and politicians and a former president. I don't think so.
You would if that were the case, then because that kind of thing does go on from time to time. If that were the case, it would be like one case, and it would be shut up, and no one would ever hear about it, kind of
Right.
thing.
Right.
That's how it would go. So it wouldn't be this big giant mass of just dirt that they've got on everybody.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be.
Yeah. And
So
what troubles me is there's these cross connections. You know that Jeffrey Epstein was involved in the money transfers in Iran-Contra. He was one of the money guys. The same thing. It's funny. There's a connection to Iran-Contra with Larry King, the main guy in the Franklin cover-up. And you have BCCI, the Banks of Crooks and Criminals, that former CIA Director Robert Gates joked about, and all the savings and loans that collapsed because the CIA was using their money. And there's been congressional testimony about this, about suspected connections with the CIA. So you've got a dirty CIA, but then you go to Terry Reid's book. Terry Reid ran the CIA proprietary company in Mexico City that was shipping the weapons to the Contras. And of course, that cross deal, they were getting money from selling arms to Iran to give to the Contras, so they weren't using congressional money, right? So they were getting around the, what was that act called, Lee, that they prohibited arms sales to the Contras? It was the... I can't think of it, but there was an act that Congress passed to prohibit
Right.
it, and they were basically finding a way around that. But Felix Rodriguez, what the Amram Nir told Terry Reid is, your warehouse is full of cocaine.
Are you thinking of ITAR?
No.
No,
And so Terry Reid said, all right, let's go to my warehouse because I don't believe you. Amram Nir was Mossad. Yeah.
The Boland Amendment.
The Boland Amendment.
Yep.
That's it. That's what I'm thinking of. The Boland Amendment. That prohibited us from supporting the Contras with money that Congress gave the intelligence community and the Pentagon. So they go to his warehouse is full of cocaine in Mexico City. And it's like, how did this happen? And Amram Nir told him, Felix Rodriguez is a KGB double agent, and we're worried because he's close to Vice President Bush, and they're trying to bring down Reagan. And they've basically dirtied up everybody with this cocaine money. So in other words, the KGB had infiltrated the Contra resupply operation, and they were dirtying up everybody. And on the other end of that resupply operation was Governor Bill Clinton, where ultimately everything was being shipped from and to through Mexico down to Nicaragua at the time. And this is the famous Mena, Arkansas story. And there's been lots of stories told about it, and a lot of dead bodies, or rather arkancides, they would call them, instead of suicide. It's an arkancide. And the Clintons were up to their necks in this. And this was a lot of the speculation in the 1990s about the Clintons being dirty. And now we have Jeffrey Epstein was in the middle of that. Right? This is we're dealing with intelligence agencies, potential blackmail of important people, honey trapping. Look, we need transparency. We need to get to the bottom of this, because this country is going to be torn apart if we can't trust our officials to be transparent about this kind of a scandal.
To the point about the KGB getting involved in the drug operations down there to dirty up the Reagan administration. Well, how could they infiltrate our drug operations so easily? Well, the answer is in red cocaine. We showed them how to do it.
Yeah,
they came to us.
They were the masters. Yeah,
they came to us and said, well, we want to stop drug trafficking too. So can you show us how to do that? And so what did we do? We brought them in to our agencies with liaisons.
Yeah.
And we showed them all of our techniques on how we're supposed to stop the drug trafficking. They knew exactly what to do to circumvent it.
It was a big mistake giving the CIA part of the drug interdiction mission, because the CIA is so corrupt. I mean, it's always had this corruption problem. I'm sorry, where you don't have transparency, where you don't have checks and balances, you're going to get people corrupt. And it's already a trouble with the police. We know about prohibition, what happened to the Chicago PD. We know about Al Capone and his gang. We know about New York and all the corruption that the mafia brought with it there. Look, you make some kind of thing illegal like drugs or alcohol, you're going to get dirty cops. It's just the way it works. And you're
That's
going to
the
get
idea.
dirty intelligence people,
Yeah,
which is
that's the
already a
idea.
dirty game. Yeah.
That's the scissor, right? You got to have everybody. You got to have your agents on both
Yes.
sides,
Yes.
and so you can jail all your opposition, right? So you need
Yeah.
the cops, and you need the organized crime. You need the private investigators. You need the lawyers. You need the courts. You need You need the prison system. All of it.
And the people that you get when you buy off law enforcement, the people who they enforce are your drug competition.
That's
So
right.
you get the monopoly, and you preserve the monopoly. You preserve the prices that you can set with that monopoly. Yes, absolutely. And there's the same thing with the sex trade and the mafias. I quote Violente, who was quoted by David Remnick. He was the head of the Italian Parliamentary Committee of Inquiry into the Mafia back when the Soviet Union collapsed. And he told David Remnick that Russia was now the international capital of organized crime, where all the three major Italian mafias went to get coaching, to go to seminars, to be taught how to do money laundering and drug trafficking and female white slavery better, right? So the Russians are the kingpins, the masters of organized crime, along with their Chinese associates, the triads. You look at the Sidewinder report, Canada, same thing. They're using Chinese organized crime to infiltrate Canada. Same thing's happening in Brazil, in Sao Paulo right now with the Chinese triads. They're all over Latin America. They're taking over. They're integrating with local South American crime gangs, and they're organizing it. They're super organizing it. And why is a country like Russia or China so good at organized crime? Because organized crime is always the stepchild of the police. It's organized by the police because the police have more guns than any Al Capone gang. They got more armed men. They could crush them if they wanted to. So why don't they want to? Money.
The GRU also. They're involved in they operate running the triads, or not the triads, the drug cartels with the triads in Mexico.
And that was the
So
testimony of Jan Shana, that the Russian military intelligence, Soviet military intelligence, GRU, and the KGB both had their own schools for training drug dealers, along with Czech military intelligence and Czech intelligence, the STB. This goes back. This operation began in 1960, Operation Friendship of Nations. That's what Khrushchev named it. And it has been going on for decades, and we still don't understand this game. And the money laundering is the big power, because once you have that money, you can buy people, you can buy officials, you can corrupt people, you can run things like this. Why was Jeffrey Epstein so rich? Where did he get his money from? Where was that money laundered from? He didn't make it on Wall Street, right? He got this through intelligence connections. See, this is how you turn the CIA or MI5. This is how you turn them into agencies. There's Shana's book, We Will Bury You, that Johnny's holding up there. Say something so the camera goes on you.
Yes, he wrote in this book. He talked about Operation Friendship of Nations. So in this book, he lays out everything that they were going to do, how they were going to take over the drug trade, how they took over organized crime. Was Khrushchev's plan to put all this stuff together. So that's in this book. This is available free online in digital form. It's long out of print. If you can find a copy of it, then great. But if not, then PDF form is going to be the best that you can do. So it's over at archive.org. Myself and a few others made sure that it was put up there for people to read.
All right, he's on a phone call there. It looked like.
Yeah, I have to go to do another podcast, but yeah, very interesting.
Very
stuff.
good.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Speak to you later, Jeff. Lee, do you want to talk a little bit about Iran and what's going on over there? Do you got it? Yeah.
Yeah. So the Iranians have been swapping out Russian helicopters for Iranian drones. So the Russians are taking KA-25s and taking them over there in IL-76s and loading up the IL-76s with heat drones and flying them back to Russia so as that they can attack Ukraine with them.
Wow.
Countries over there are saying that they won't let us use their territory for attacking Iran, but yet we can launch refuelers and store weapons there.
Well, we're using the airspace anyway, and we're
Yeah.
using the assets on the ground anyway. So they say, well, we're not going to allow you to do that, but we just kind of don't care. So we've got flights going in there. I mean, we've got a lot of cargo flights going in there. At least 5 a day are leaving this country alone.
Over 100 have went in already.
That's crazy. So Europe's
Second
aviation
carrier.
safety reg. Go ahead.
Second
What'd you say?
carrier is going too.
Yes, the second carrier is going to go. The George H.W. Bush, I think, is going to go. The European Aviation Safety Regulator, the EASA, have updated their advisory for all EU airlines, and they're saying that they are to avoid Iranian airspace in its entirety all the way until the end of March.
Damn.
Yeah. So you're not going to have any European flights going over that. I'm sure that other airlines will conform to that.
Yeah.
But that's what's going on. But Trump was asked about Iran, and he gave his usual response. Well, we'll let you know in a month. He literally said that. So, how long is it going to take our carrier to get there? What do you know?
Probably another week.
Another week. Okay, so at least another week.
Yep.
And the U.S. has smuggled roughly 6,000 Starlink terminals into Iran. Have you heard about that?
I heard they were going to do it, but I hadn't confirmed any of it had been delivered.
Yes, 6,000. Are you using Starlink currently?
I was until an hour ago.
So, well, yeah, until you got your stuff back online. But the system works rather well, does it not?
Yeah, absolutely, it works well. And and by the way, the story about the Chinese having a 20 megawatt laser or 20 megawatt microwave that can destroy Starlink from the ground. Yeah, I got some oceanfront property in Nebraska. So,
yeah, well, probably something from the Temu warehouse that they had in their.
It is. It's a Temu ultra microwave.
That's ridiculous.
Amplifier there. They're saying it's 20 megawatts. I think it's 20 milliwatts.
So speaking of Starlink, Musk bricked all Russian access to Starlink yesterday. Did you hear that?
I did. Did you see the new device that the Belarusians produced? It said it's going to take the place of Starlink.
No, I didn't.
You got to
go
through my Twitter. You got to go through my Twitter feed. Go back through my Twitter feed and find the tweet, and it shows Lenshenko standing there with this table, and it's got all the stuff stacked on it. But you got to see the picture and hear what he says. You have to go back through and my tweets. It's back a few days, and you'll see a picture of Lenshenko standing there behind a table with a fax machine and a green suitcase and 2 power strips plugged in with a bunch of shit hooked to it.
Is it a video?
Yes, a video. Fucking hilarious. You'll do it for free with Musk charge billions.
I didn't think that the Belarusians actually had a space program.
They do. It's between their ears.
Oh, I see. Lockheed Martin's got a new underwater drone. That's interesting.
Yeah, it does. Got a missile in a box in the back of it. So it swims over it and then just lobs it into your lap in about 15 seconds. Just enough time to go, oh, shit.
Well, I'm on February 8th and I got nothing.
Oh, they might have taken it down. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. Let me.
Yeah, I just saw some guy thinking he was quick draw McGraw and he shot himself in the leg.
Yeah, yeah. It's after that though.
Is it? Yeah, okay.
Would have thought. I'll find it here. It has knowledge.
I'm assuming they took it down because I don't see it anywhere.
I'm going a little farther. Oh, I got it.
Can you put it in my DMs, please?
Yeah. What's your name on X?
Anderson 10X3. Would it be better if I just sent you a message from it? That way you can just drop it in there.
No, it's weird because all right, let me do it this way. I just tagged you in it.
Well, you have to remember that I'm shadow banned on X, so I'm probably not going to get that notification.
I'm shadow banned too. Well, I only have 1,500 subscribers. Can you imagine that?
So, well, yeah, I can because I haven't moved since I think the second week I've joined.
Yep.
I've moved by like maybe 15. So I got the same number of followers between the second week I joined until now. So I don't have it. So that's okay. Anyway, so basically, give me a rundown. So they thought that they think they're going to shoot down something with whatever little pea shooters they've got.
You're talking about on the who the Iranians
Belarusians.
or
No, the Belarusians.
no. It's they say they have a wireless. It's the dude has a wireless router with a couple 7 dB or 10 dB gain antennas hooked to it. He's got 20 things plugged into 2 power strips. He's claiming that he's going to put together a mesh network, talking one wireless router to the next wireless router to the next wireless router to the next wireless router.
Uh-huh.
And that's his Starlink.
Oh, I see.
So
Okay.
you have a router there at the office, and we have a relay to another router, and then there's a relay to that router, and there's a relay to the
Are
other.
you going to put? So it's a mesh network. So are you going to put a relay every 30 feet? Because that's what it's going to take.
He's got it up to about 100.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
No, he could probably get if he put it on top of a building, he could probably get a mile. out of each one of them.
This is as funny as Maduro saying he had a Chinese phone that no one could spy on.
That's right.
That's
That's
as
right.
ridiculous
Actually,
as
this is
that.
funnier. If you get that tweet, I can't believe it.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
all right.
Here, it's February the 5th,
Oh, it's the 5th.
and it's from Vicegrad. Now that Musk has turned off access to the Russian army.
Yeah, they shut it down yesterday or whatever it was.
Yeah. No, February the 5th. Yeah, the 5th of February is when that came out. So the 4th of February is when they cut it off.
God, you post a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I do. I've tagged you in it. Can't look under mentions.
There it is. Now I got it. Yeah, here we go.
Blow that image up. Yeah, show it to everybody.
Yes, I'm going to turn this ridiculous buffoon's audio off.
Great. You gotta show the power strip. Gotta show.
All right, here we go. Shut up. Is that a Yeti cooler?
No, it's a metal box, like a Coleman's cook stove comes in.
Oh, one of those things.
Yeah.
Got two power strips plugged into each other.
Yeah. You gotta get that. You gotta see that. Yeah, I love the fax machine with the router and the extra antennas. See that?
Does it work on the Starlink principle? Really? I don't even know what to say to this. This is ridiculous.
Dude, that's advanced technology for the Flintstones.
Right. Right. Yeah, okay. Well, hand that over to the Venezuelan interim government. It might help them. So I heard a report the other day, and I don't know if you know anything about this, but I heard a report the other day that Cuba has received surface-to-surface missiles from the Russians. Have you heard that?
I have heard that not the specific missile that was delivered.
We don't know which one it is.
Right, but I have heard that they are delivering more weapons, and I had heard that the Chinese were delivering some electronics as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So,
well,
it's the kitchen missiles in Cuba
that concerns me more than anything else.
Right.
Is that because they're already there, and I fully believe they would not have those missiles there if they did not already have the planes to carry them. So
I would, yeah, that's you could say that because those other hangars there are long enough to hold those planes. Did you notice about that? About how long those hangars are? They're freaking huge.
I have, as a matter of fact, I would like to pull that up because I had heard when I caught this that they were doing the surface-to-surface missiles. I was trying to figure out exactly where, because the surface-to-surface missiles, you're going to be best with, I think it's 500 kilometers max, right?
Yeah.
So the only target you're going to be able to hit at that distance is going to be Miami, right? So that's going to be the only city they're going to threaten.
Well, yeah, you're right. You're right.
So if I zip down here to Cuba, hang on just a second, Let me blow this up. If I zip down here to Cuba, so here's our kitchen missiles over here.
Yep.
Right? Yep. Excuse me. I'm sorry. This is our irrigation pipe.
That's right. That's right. That's exactly
this
what
is our irrigation pipe in rural farmland.
That's right.
That's what that is.
I finally convinced Jack that it is a kitchen missile. It only took me
That's
4 months.
It's rural farmland. What's
That's
wrong
right.
with you?
Rural farmland, and those are irrigation pipes.
So the bunkers you're talking about for the planes, I'm assuming is going to be
Right.
these, yes?
Right. That's long enough to put a plane in.
That's EU-22M, yes.
Yeah.
And they've got more down here.
Yep.
And they've got more over here.
Yep. So that one probably won't be the one with the
No,
but
that's not where those are going to
Right,
be.
right.
But if they have surface-to-surface missiles,
right.
I'm assuming, I could be wrong, but I'm assuming that they're going to keep them close to Havana.
Of course, the closer to Miami is the better.
Yes. So you're not going to be.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Go on.
I doubt that they're going to be putting them down next to the American prison.
No.
on
Well, that's
Guantanamo.
that's going to be down. That's
Right.
going to be down over here.
See, that's killing your range.
Yeah.
So
So
they're going
and
to be up somewhere
from
around
here,
there. Right.
yeah, from Havana to Guantanamo, to give people an idea, that's 800 kilometers. So you're not going to hit anything over there.
Right.
So the only place that they could be, right? We got flights to Moscow that go into this airport here, but the only place that it could be would be here. This is just southwest of Havana. You see Havana's up here?
Yep. No, there's
Right.
another. There's
This-
another. Yeah. Never mind. Go ahead. You're right.
The size, though, they've
Yeah.
already got the bunkers and everything outfitted here
Right. Right.
to store those things.
Right. But you could do the jets there, or you could do the missiles there.
You could do either one,
Right.
yeah, or a combination of the two.
Right.
But they've been beefing this up,
Right.
and as you can see, they've got all that cleaned up. Hell, one of the doors to the bunker's open on this one.
Yeah, and there's a jet nose sticking out of it.
Which one?
The one you were just looking at a minute ago. Right there at that airport, you had it zoomed in, and you could see the nose of the jet sticking out of it. I think it was when you first started talking about this base. Go over there, you can see the nose of the aircraft sticking out on one of them. There's no, that ain't it. Not the one I was looking at. But you had there was a nose.
I think it was a door that. I think it was.
No. You could see the nose of the aircraft easily sticking out. It's all the way back to the intakes of the jet engines. You can see the entire front half of the fuselage sticking out. Just keep looking around, you'll find it. It's on a. It's facing down to the southwest. The nose of the aircraft is. The bunkers. The doorway is going to be in.
It's going to be here
to the northeast.
Right there.
Yep, right there it is.
Right there it is. Yeah, you're right. There it is. I thought that was the door. No.
Yeah, actually, that's beyond the intakes. So yeah, they're using them. They're going to keep using them. It looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got no jet fuel at the airport, but that doesn't.
They got no jet fuel, but they've got AA defenses here.
Right. All right.
There's
So
there. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to ask you
if I've got going on that I'm working on.
Yep.
But yeah, other than that, the El Paso thing's been taking up stuff over the last couple of days. It's so much. It's so big that it's actually on the news over here.
Wow.
And you got people down in. I saw it flash up on the TV today.
And I still haven't heard anybody talk about how illegal this is, and the fact that they fired the laser beam down through the middle of the range, or from the range down through between two airfields to a target on the border.
Yeah. This has also been on the news down in South America too, in several South American countries. The El Paso thing.
Yeah, I'm going to be on live with Rex Bear here in a little bit.
So, you need to get some sleep. Is what you need.
I'm going to do that tonight.
So,
I figure if I stay up for 48 hours or 36 hours, then I ought to be able to sleep for 3 or 4.
How you do that?
I don't either.
I can't do that.
My wife said sleep. She said when it comes to sleep, Lee says that sleep is for mortals.
That's what you told me when I told you to get some sleep.
Yeah, it's because that's what she told me. Sleep was for the mortals.
So if there's not any questions, then we can
I'm
go ahead
not
and wrap
seeing
up.
anything.
Okay. So it's a
Yep.
short one today, but we've had technical difficulties. So
Yeah, well, the power supply for the router and the Intimidator went out, and I had to go to 4 different telephone company offices to find one that had a power supply for our router. So I was an hour delayed in getting here. Plus, the router had been offline. The racer was working his ass off diligently to get the thing working at all. So we're actually surprised that we had it pulled off, but at least we got it fixed. And now I'm going to do a show with Rex Bear from the Leak Project. I told him what I discovered. Then he's like, "Yeah, we need to do a show." So
okay. Well, go ahead and go do your show.
all right.
So
Well,
I've got phone calls that I have to return. So
all right. Thank you for your time, sir. Have a great day.
absolutely. Absolutely. All
Take
right.
care.
Take